Hello, my name is Stephen Thomas, and in today's video we're going to take a look at building our very first conversational AI agent using Agent Loop inside of Logic App Consumption. Now you might ask yourself, why would I want to use Logic App Consumption as compared to Logic App Standard? Well, first off, if you already have an existing standard environment set up, that's probably going to be the way to go to build your AI agents. If you're new to Logic Apps or don't have a standard environment set up, you might want to look at consumption to build your AI agents. There are two main reasons you would consider consumption. First off is simplicity. As compared to building this out in Logic App Standard, it's extremely simple, and you'll see in our walkthrough how easy it is to get up and running in consumption. Second would be costs. To set up an Logic App Standard environment, you're looking at about $5 a day, plus the cost of the large language model to run your agents. With consumption, it's all built in a nice pay-as-you-go model. Now, if you're running an agent a few times a day or maybe a few times a month, it might be a very cost-effective way to get up and running. Now, using consumption as compared to standard, you do lose out on a lot of flexibility. With standard, you have full selection over what model you want to execute your agent under. In consumption, that's going to be selected for you, and you're not able to change that. So let's dive in and see how easy it is to get up and running with zero experience building your first AI agent in Logic App Consumption. Okay, let's get started building our own conversational agent. I've jumped into my Azure portal, and what I'm going to do here is first walk through what we're going to build today. We're going to build this conversational agent that we see here. The agent here is called Cardshark agent. This agent has two tools. Each tool is responsible for doing different tasks that the agent decides. The first tool is going to shuffle the deck of cards, and we're going to use a third-party connector here called Shuffle New Deck. The next tool is going to draw cards. So when the agent determines that it needs cards, so if I say I want to discard 3 cards, for example, or when it first deals my hand of 5 cards, it's going to use this HTTP call to return the correct number of cards. Now in here, it's going to use 2 parameters. One is the deck ID, which it's going to get from shuffling the deck of cards, and the next is the number of cards. This will be determined by the agent to determine how many cards to draw. Initially, it'll be 5 to give me a first hand. And if I say I want to discard 2 cards, for example, it'll draw 2 more cards. And this is all automatically taken care of by the agent. Now, I'm going to click on this agent real quick, and you can see here, these are agent instructions. This is really the meat of what's going on here. Now, I didn't use rocket science to create this. I used ChatGPT and simply asked for a first set of agent instructions to play 5-card draw. Now, this is about my 5th or 6th iteration of these agent instructions. And for simplicity, I've simplified this to just have these 2 tools. We'll take a look at a more complex example at the end of this, but just 2 tools in here. And I've put a little bit more business logic inside of this agent instructions than I normally would. And that is just to simplify things with the 2 tools. Things like rejecting if the user is asking you to do things other than play cards, that's in here. Logic around who's the winner is in here. So like 1 pair is going to be less than 2 pair, for example. And technical notes down here about the size of images and asking for help and stuff like that. These are all things that in my more complex example we'll see are broken out into separate tools, and that's really the best approach, is to break these out and have the tools do as much work as possible and just have that agent orchestrate those calls to those tools. So just keep that in mind. For simplicity, I've simplified this to make it so we just have these two tools which require no authentication or tokens or anything like that. So with that, let's jump in and create our agent. I've jumped in here, and this is my resource group that I've already created. We're just going to go ahead and say create new, and I'm going to say Logic App, and say create Logic App. I'm going to do consumption, and go ahead and say select. And I'm going to keep it in the same resource group. I'm going to call Logic App Live Demo Agent, and I'm going to select East US 2. Now, I think there's at one point different regions had this conversational agent in consumption available. I think it's more widely available now, but I still use East US 2. And I'm going to say that's a conversational agent. I'm going to say create, and now it'll take it just a moment to populate and create this. And I'm going to jump into this Logic App once it's created and go to resource and go to Logic App Designer. Now this is my blank Logic app, has nothing here. First thing we see, we click on this when a new chat message is received, and there's two key parameters we have to set here. We have to give it the name of the agent and a description. This is used for the A2A protocol, which can have a multi-agent setup way outside the scope of what we're doing here, creating this first agent. So in this case, I'm going to call this 5 card draw V1. And I'm going to give this a description. The description does have to be less than 80 characters. So I'm going to paste in a description here, simply saying it's a stateful Logic App agent for user versus PC 5 card draw. Now I'm just going to simply come over here and rename this agent, call it Cardshark. Doesn't really matter what it is called as long as it's representative of what it's doing. And I'm going to paste in our agent instructions. Now, you don't have to worry about trying to recreate these agent instructions. If you follow the link below in the comments, I will have a link to my blog post on this where you can copy these agent instructions to build this out yourself. Now we're going to use two tools here. So I'm going to go ahead and click plus to create my first tool and search for deck of cards right here. And I'm going to shuffle a new deck. Now I need to give this tool a description, and it's going to, it doesn't allow. Shuffle deck, and so give it a representative name and then a description here, and I'm going to say this will shuffle the cards and return a new deck ID. Now I'm not specifying anything specific about the deck ID or setting it to a variable or anything like that. In this case, we don't need any agent parameters specifically, so I'm going to leave it like that. Now if you haven't used deck of cards before, it's going to prompt you to create a connection. You just click OK. There's no authentication needed. I already have an existing connection, so that's why that's used here. Now I'm going to create another tool, and this is going to be an HTTP call, because I'm going to make an HTTP call. Now I could use the shuffle new deck, that same deck of cards. Third party has this connector built in to draw the cards. I found it doesn't always work, so I just call their API directly using that same deck ID. So in this case, I'm going to be an HTTP call. In this case, I'm going to draw cards, and then paste in my description of what this tool is going to do. And I'll say this tool will draw cards for the game. It will need a deck ID and the number of cards to draw. When drawing cards, draw all cards needed at one time and assign them to each player. So we'll see if it can do that. And I'm going to need two parameters here. My first one is going to be deck ID, and that is going to be a string. And I'm going to say this is the deck ID of the current hand. And I'm going to need another parameter here, which is number of cards to draw. And that's going to be an integer. And I'm going to set that here. This is the number of cards to draw. Okay, and that's going to be an HTTP request. So I'm going to paste in the URL here. And it's just a base URL. There's a couple parameters I need to set. Right here is the deck ID. I'm going to use that agent parameter there. And at the end, I want the count. It's going to be the number of cards to draw. And this is going to be a get. And that is all we need to set in order to do this, to make that call. So I'm going to jump out of that, and everything is set up here to make our conversational agent work. I'm going to simply hit save. And to execute this, you simply come over here to chat, and this is going to open up a chat interface. Now, this also can be hosted in an iframe, so there's lots of details about how to do that. In this case, I'm just going to run it here in this chat window, and I'm going to say, let's play, and it's going to go out there and deal me my first set of 5 cards. Now, if I did want help, I could say help. You can see here, say help, and it will tell me how it would play this hand, but it's pretty easy here. I got a pair of 5s, so I'm going to throw back 2, 3, and 4. And let's see what I get. I got my final hand. I got nothing else that added to that hand, so my pair of 5s. Now it's the dealer's turn. The dealer has these. Dealer has 4 to the flush, so let's see if it's smart enough to see if it should just throw that. See, I have 4 spades, so I'm going to keep that and draw one more card. Let's see if it gets it. Let's say go to have it go ahead and continue and draw that. And it did not get their flush, which is good for us as the player. And high card, no pair results is this hand is player one wins with a pair of fives, which is fantastic. So that's exactly what we wanted. Now let's dive in and see what this looks like inside of our Logic app. I exited out by clicking that X. I'm going to go over here to run history. And now this is going to be running. Now these agents will continue in the running state. There's no harm in that. They will not consume resources. You're not being charged for these. These are just the agents waiting for more work to do. I could jump back into that same instance, for example, and do additional conversations with that agent. So agent in running state is perfectly fine. But in here on the left side, we can see the execution of the tasks through this agent here. There was 1, 2, 3 tasks that executed on the task timeline. Over here on the right, we see our agent log. So you can see here you get the full interaction that this agent went through. First, it shuffled the deck, then it drew the cards. So go over here, we click on draw cards, for example. You can see that the input here was to draw cards, and it was asking for a number of cards to draw, and it drew our 5 cards initially, and we got our output here. Our cards to draw is 5, and this was all driven by the agent. You can also walk through this on the left over here and walk through these calls, both see what the agent has determined and the calls that it's making inside of these tools below. So this is really super cool on the visibility you get into this. So if it wasn't us running this chat log, if it was somebody else, for example, you'd be able to see their full execution of their chat history. Now let's jump over real quick to see what a more complex example looks like. So this is the same scenario where we're playing a hand of cards, dealing 5 cards. But in this case, the agent instructions are more simplified. It's more of step-by-step flow of kind of what I would expect the game of 5-card draw to be. And in this case, I leverage more tools for things. So rather than the agent itself determining who wins the hand, which I found is not very reliable, I do what's called the DeepSeek double check. So I pass the 2 winning hands to DeepSeek reasoning model, and it executes to determine the winner. And this just uses an HTTP call here. So it creates the request here to make that call. It uses system instructions here, and then the user instructions are going to be the hand of both players, and then it's going to actually come in here and parse out the response from DeepSeek to determine what was called there. Now I just used the direct DeepSeek API here. No reason I couldn't use a model from AI Foundry, for example. And DeepSeek card helper, so if the user asks for help, again I'm going to ask DeepSeek reasoning model to determine how best to play that hand, because I don't really like the built-in agent to do that. And something else that's pretty cool here is I post the winner to a chat channel. So I post who wins the game. And the other thing to point out here is I'm not explicitly setting any of these agent parameters. These agent parameters are dynamically set by the agent itself based on output of other tools. So that's another super cool thing there. So let's go ahead and run this just to see what this looks like. Kind of go over here to chat and simply come over here and say, let's play once this loads. And I'm going to do a new chat, say, let's play. And it's going to draw me my 5 cards. And let's see here. I have nothing good at all. So I got 3 to this flush. So let's just do that. I'm going to throw a 1 and 4. Now I could have asked for help if I wanted, but that call just takes a little bit of time. So I just kind of skipped that for here. Let's see what I got. It does not look good. I did end up with a pair of 10s and a pair of 8s. So I came up with 2 pairs. So that's pretty good. Now it's the dealer's turn. A dealer is looking pretty good with a pair of queens. So let's see if they draw. And they actually get 2 pairs as well with a pair of 9s. So this will be interesting to see what the DeepSeek double check comes back and says is the winner. Like I said, the default agent does seem to have a problem determining the winner, even when I'm kind of specific in the instructions. So in this case, let's see what DeepSeek double check comes back with. Now this call does take about 45 seconds, and it is calling the DeepSeek API directly. So we'll give it just a moment. Okay, and the DeepSeek double check is done, and it says 2 pair 10s and 8s, 2 pair queens and 9s, and does say that player 2 is the winner. So that is great, and it did evaluate that correctly. Okay, now let me move over my Teams interface here, and let's see what it sent to Teams. And right now it did post player 2, player 1 hand, and it said that Player two was the winner with a pair of queens and nines. So super cool there, how we can see our interaction with teams. Now, this was just the tip of the iceberg on what you can do with interaction with teams. There's a whole suite of connectors with different actions to talk to teams, to get interaction with teams. Hopefully I'm going to redo this demo and have the full interaction instead of this chat window be with Teams, because you can do that as well. So a lot of functionality there. So hopefully this was just a quick walkthrough of how you could set up your first AI conversational agent using Logic App Consumption. Now, like I said, I ran this about 25 times and it cost me about $1.10. So to give you an idea, there is a cost associated with this, but I can just set this here, forget about it, and I'm not charged another cent for this Logic app sitting there waiting for work to do, which is a plus. Check out these other videos. I do have my step-by-step walkthrough of doing the pretty much same example using a Logic App Standard. That does take at least twice as long as you see in this video because you have to set up all the AI Foundry and your own LLM model. Gives you more flexibility though because you have that ability to select a more complex model than what you see here. This uses like ChatGPT 4.0, I believe, for its model. So with that, hopefully you can go out and build your first AI agent. And if you like the content here, check out my other videos and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.